Hey, I'm Jillian Scheibel with Apex Overland. I competed in the 2023 Artemis Rally, and I'm here to talk about navigation. So first I'm going to talk about some special considerations when it comes to the Artemis Rally and navigation. I'm going to talk about the tools that you can use for navigation, and then some of the navigation responsibility while you're actually competing in the rally. So the first thing to consider when you're doing navigation is that they give you a list of waypoints, and they are not in order. You kind of choose your own adventure, which is really unique, I think, to the Artemis. A lot of other rallies, they have them in order, so your plan and your route is already planned for you. But a really cool thing about the Artemis is that you get to choose your own adventure. Now, each waypoint has a different activity or challenge at that waypoint, and a different set of points that you can earn. So you have to kind of look at that when you get your scroll at the start of that stage to see what you want to compete or what you want to go after. So, like I said, some considerations that you need to take into the Artemis is that we are in the beautiful state of North Carolina, which means sometimes there's wide open views of satellites and cell service, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes you're in the gorges and under thick tree cover with no service and no satellite service. So you have to consider that when you are plotting and navigating. And so you should plan for the unknowns and plan for not having service. I think the main thing that will make or break the Artemis for you is the tools that you choose to use for navigation. You can use different devices or applications. There's tons out there, and a lot of times you may already have something that you're used to using. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Garmin's, and of course there's other ones out there. So the main thing about whatever device or whatever tool you choose to use is understanding how to input the coordinates. The coordinates that they give you in the Artemis is a lat long, and you're being able to enter that efficiently into your system is going to save time, and then also making sure that you enter them correctly so you don't misplace a waypoint and go after a point that doesn't exist. So the first thing you do is you get your waypoints, you put them into your system, or however you're using it, and you plot them out. Look at it as an overview. Figure out what all you have to do that day or what your opportunity is for that day, and then plot that course. And while you're plotting the course, take into consideration the time it takes to get to those waypoints, where they are in relationship to each other, maybe the points that are at that waypoint. If the waypoint is way far off but not worth a lot of points, is it worth the time it's going to take? Or if it's close but the time it takes to compete that challenge, is that worth the amount of points that you're going to earn? So there's beauty in being able to choose which points you do to balance out the scales on the risk you want to take versus the reward of the points. So allow time at each waypoint. Consider that at the waypoint. What is the challenge at this waypoint? Is it a hiking waypoint that's going to take us 2 hours away from the vehicle? Is that something that we feel strong that we can do? Is it a waypoint where we are going to have to use our winch? Is it a waypoint where we're going to have to get the canoe on and off the vehicle and take time to do that? Consider those things on top of also considering the navigation. Then also, the other part of the tool that you use, add a little bit of redundancy. I use the Garmin, but I also have Apple Maps. And then my partner for the Artemis, she had the Google Maps. So there was a few times where we would just verify our plot and timing, because we were short on time. We were getting close to the cutoffs of hitting a checkpoint, to make sure that we were accounting for things like traffic that may not always update real time depending on what app you use, and being able to account for that. So I talked a little bit about the tool that I use, so I'm going to show it to you. So the waypoints that they give you, I believe they're in decimal format. So the tool that you use, pay attention to how the input goes with the format of the coordinate. What I love about the Garmin is that it'll convert it for you. So you put in your coordinates that way, and it converts depending on what you get from the scroll. So anyway, the device that I really love to use, and that we used in the 2023 Artemis, was the Garmin Tread Overland Edition. The cool thing about this one is that it is satellite based, meaning I don't need cell phone service for it to work. It is not a subscription. I don't have to pay a monthly fee for it to work. It also has some really cool tools in it, some route planning. It has different trails, different layers that you can do. So it will show you the different trails for off-road vehicles, roads for all vehicles. And so that when you are navigating your waypoints, you can see all of your options for trails, whether they be a dirt road or a paved road. The other cool thing about the Garmin that I really like is that we're able to search on the fly. Even if I have a route in here and it's actively telling me coordinates, we can search for a gas station. So part of the Artemis, we can get gas whenever. If you find that you're running low, be able to account for that, being able to stop for lunch, search for something if we need supplies. We can input that on the fly and it will not mess up our route, with or without service. So if I need to find a gas station when I'm at base camp, when I have no service, I can find that in my Garmin. So that's just a quick touch base on the tool that I personally like to use. And then the last thing I really want to talk about in navigation is the responsibility of your driver and your navigator. When you're driving, of course, your eyes need to be on the road. You need to be accounting for what the vehicle's doing. Is the vehicle fueled? Is the vehicle up to par? Also with, driving in the terrain. But so the navigator, while all this is happening, is going to be monitoring your route, monitoring the timing, checking the requirements for the next waypoint. Do we need to be able to get the canoe off? Do we need our helmets? What tools do we need to be able to perform the challenge? And making sure all that's kind of set up so when we get there we have a plan. And then uploading your waypoints to the scorekeeper or to Instagram or whatever that requirement is for that waypoint. And the main part is to work together and to plan your route together, but then to check in with each other constantly to make sure you're on plan for that. So that's kind of a high-level overview of navigating in the Artemis, and I hope that helped.